Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. We are basically going to finish out our construction queue in Ethiopia, and then we're going to stop building. Because we're spending a lot on building, and we're spending a lot on interest. What are these additional expenses? What modifier are you? Greasing palms. Oh, you're gonna finish out pretty soon. Oh, 6 months. Alright. Easy peasy. Alright. Should sell mercenary services. Dominican uprising in Venezuela. Hey, Venezuela. You want to be my subject? No. Dominican uprising. You want to be my subject? No. Sad, but predictable. Somehow, they don't want their old boss back. I can't imagine how this could have happened. Ethiopia's liberty desire is going down, which I'm pretty pleased with. But what if I took over Persia? Would anyone stop me? Macron would try to stop me. Great Britain would not. Russia would not. Wait a minute. Are they just available for attacking? I think they are. Let's do it. What kind of an army do you have, Persia? Okay. Well, they didn't just collapse and say yes. Oh my. I don't even need to... I don't need to do heck all. I can just put my armies right here on the front. I think Persia doesn't have much of an army at all, friends. Yeah, wow, it's not that impressive. Alright, so they've mobilized now. We see irregular and line and skirmish infantry. And irregular line and skirmish infantry. They do have shrapnel artillery. So I can't get too silly. But I can get pretty silly. Wow, territorial army is pretty badly beaten down. So let's grab our coastal defense force and put them in the area. We'll just get this going. Again, no one's... Like, Egypt might stand against me, but I'm really not worried about that all that much. Let's go ahead and mobilize the secondary forces, just to make sure Egypt doesn't wind up thinking they can just make a problem for me. Where's my other fleet? Second Iberian fleet is here. I'm going to put you here. We're going to put you here, because Egypt is really the force that I'm... I don't know if I would go so far as to say worried about, but it's the country that can make a problem for me. Alright, so we'll put the Coastal Defense Force here in the south. We'll put the Interior Defense Force here in the south. We'll put the Coastal Defense Force here in the middle. And we'll put the Territorial Army here in the north. And we'll move the Royal Guard off as needed. Oh, actually, we'll move the Royal Guard off as needed because the Royal Guard are quite strong compared to what Egypt's packing. Although, my conscripts seem to be flowing into the Royal Guard and not my other armies, which is a little bit odd, but it is what it is. Alright. Ottoman Empire is scrambling forces to help. Again, Iberian Expeditionary Forces on the main front against Persia. No one is standing in here except for the... Egyptians. Russia, what do you want? Transfer of the... They want the Baltic provinces back. No! What about you, Arissa? A war goal, you say? A return state war goal, you say? Ooh, with return state on Macron? You know, I would be delighted to return Macron to you. Excellent. Not that I think I really needed that, but, you know, we'll see if this becomes a general European war. What's going on over here in Dar es Salaam? We got wildfires or something? Yeah, we got wildfires. Ooh, that's bad. Oh, that's real bad. Wildfires all across southern Anatolia and the Middle East. Well, at least the Fertile Crescent here. Curious. Soon we'll have Arisan troops, and that'll also be fun. Isak offers to owe us an obligation if we back them against the Isaki radical revolt. That's an interesting notion. Yeah, you know what? Sure. I'll help you with that. That's my subject's situation anyway, so I might as well. Might as well get in there. Coastal Defense Force can go over to this other side, because it seems my Royal Guard is getting all of the conscripts, even though I didn't raise their conscripts. Build up in Ethiopia is complete. I'm going to go ahead and pause construction here, and hopefully that's going to work some wonders for my overall financial situation. It didn't really work wonders. It doesn't seem as wonderful as I was hoping it was going to be. Hopefully what will happen is we'll be able to clear out these fronts within a reasonable time frame to get an actual force over to Isak. There's the war with Persia. Let's get things going here. French Republic sides with Great Qing. Oh, what's going on over here? The United States is trying to grab Yeongnam, grab a treaty port in Formosa, transfer Joseon, and humiliate France. France wants regime change in Hawaii. Ha ha ha, Hawaii. Interesting. Well, I can't support Great Qing, which is kind of the side of this that I would support if it were up to me. Because I don't want someone else to steal Joseon. That's my job. I want Joseon. I want to steal Joseon. That's my thing. Nobody tell me how it's pronounced. I would be crushed emotionally. Alright, so Iberian Expeditionary Force. I don't know why you've fallen off the front here, but you have. Royal Guard has become large. Let's put you in secondary Persian front here. And all these others, you can go to this front down here. And hopefully that'll be just fine. Obviously there's some armies on their way back to Iberia, but that's not necessarily going to be of use. Hopefully I can get here before Orissa loses this territory. I guess Oman is a subject of Orissa. Yes. Alright, well that makes sense. That makes sense. I have no further questions. Hey, we did it. We protected Isak, and I wasn't even paying enough attention to get there and do anything useful. Hooray! Alright, looks like Persia put a lot of force down here. Oh, and there's a front over here as well. That's buck wild. Alright, well we'll get things going. Let's grab the Coastal Defense Force and invade Macron with the Second Iberian Fleet, because the more naval invasions you do at once against a country, the better, particularly when their armies are mostly occupied elsewhere. Wow, finances are getting pretty rough. Obviously, the investment pool is now being drained by the war effort, but I seem to be conscripting quite a large number of troops. Maybe more than I could have wanted to be. But that's okay. That's okay. We're doing just fine. I'm taking a lot of territory in Persia. It's all going great. What country are you? The Guarani Uprising. Ah, yes. In Paraguay. We got a free trade party again. That's wild. God's will. Rafael de Queiroz of the Catholic Church has been seen preaching in favor of the Catholic Party, convinced that their victory has been foreseen in God's plans. Do you think that God would not have a plan for our pious nation? Of course there's a plan. There must always be a plan. I've seen it myself, let me tell you, and I've seen it as clear as I see you all right now, just before my eyes. And who else to lead this adrift government other than those who can clearly read that plan? Who are we to stand against God's will? Stronger Catholic Church. Such a shame the nation is not ruled by God then. He loses a bunch of popularity. But surely God wants the Free Trade Party to win. I'm going to do the middle one. I don't want to strengthen the Catholic Church right now. So with a free trade party formed, what does that make the electoral structure look like? Progressive Party is really crushing it. Near the top with 62% of the votes, mostly accounting for the petite bourgeoisie and the intelligentsia together. I can immediately boot the Free Trade Party. That's not going to help me right now, but perhaps after the election it shall. Force comparison here in Egypt is rock solid. I'm going to send the rest of our secondary forces here to support that, since I feel like the overall position of the Persians is pretty much completely untenable at this stage. But I can press further against Egypt. Ooh, mobile armor. That's my favorite. I'm sorry. That was a real wild noise. I apologize for those. Oh my God! You can't be serious. Industrialists petition government. Representing his constituents in the Industrialists, Eugenio de Almada has issued a formal petition to the Iberian government to pass no workers' rights.
One last matter for the day, sir. Members of your constituency arrived this morning. They're asking rather loudly and insistently if you'd meet with them about new legislation.
Well, goodness, is that it? You see a ghost. I'm sure I can spare the last hours of the light for them, can't I?
I believe so, sir. They weren't taking no for an answer.
This is why you can't let me play this game late at night, because my voices just get sillier and sillier. I'm going to tell them no. And I'm going to tell them no because I'm going to boot them out of the government after the election. Almost assuredly. Fruitful endorsements. Weapons of war. An article has been published by the Iberian Herald about some of the weapons which our country uses in the ongoing Iberia versus Persian War. The article focuses on the machine gun, a terrifying weapon which tears through flesh and bone at an almost inhuman rate. Members of the public are calling for the use of such weapons to be restricted. Such foul instruments of pain and torment have no place on Earth. Don't restrict them. Decreases our war support, makes the intelligentsia unhappy, or cover up their usage minus 25% infamy. I'm going to not restrict them. I think that's just the most sensible thing. I can afford to lose some war support. I'm crushing this war. Fruitful endorsements. In gesture of solidarity with the Progressive Party, Matteo Salaveria has encouraged his supporters to vote for it in the ongoing election. For the interest of all principled people, the Progressive Party has a consistent record of excellence. I cannot speak higher of those brave men and women moving Iberia forwards under their name. He has our thanks, certainly, extra momentum, or their endorsement would best be more specific. Less momentum, but stronger intelligentsia. I'm going to go with the second one. Stronger intelligentsia is good for this run. Alright. So now we've got a bunch of small diplomatic plays kicking off. This is one in Benejid, which I can safely ignore. This is one in Bahrain, which I can safely ignore. This situation is a civil war in Paraguay, which I can ignore. This is a civil war in Nicaragua, reactionary revolt, which I can safely ignore. This is a Chiang Mayan anarchist revolt, which I can safely ignore. And this is a nihilist revolt in Rewa, which, and I know you're going to be shocked by this, I can safely ignore. I mobilized 90 battalions in conscripts. I do not have my Royal Guards conscripts mobilized for this war, nor do I have the conscripts of my Iberian Expeditionary Force raised. And yet, somehow, the number of conscripts which has been raised is like in the 200 range. This is absurd. There is no reason that this should go this way. I'm going to send the Iberian Expeditionary Force over here to Egypt. Which, like, not that I'm complaining, really, because I am crushing this war real good. But it does feel a little weird that my conscripts have been just sort of, that I've done a mass mobilization, even though I only raised, like, 34 conscripts in this army, 37 here, and 30 here. You know, there's still a lot of kinks being worked out in the Victoria 3 overall structure that I'm hoping we can iron out before things get too buck wild. Anyway, the war is almost over. Enemy's war support will be below 0 as of next week. And hopefully I'll be able to get whatever I wish to get before things get very silly. Secessionist Manifesto. A manifesto laying out the arguments for Japanese independence has started to spread in Iberia. Should this sort of thing be illegal? It's not arguing for an armed revolution. Japanese independence could be an entirely peaceful process. However, I will say this. If such a revolution comes, this is what they'll be shouting from the barricades. Start a propaganda campaign to counter these arguments. Weaker movement, reduce political activism, reduce civil war progress, or pay it no mind. Stronger Japanese national movement, increase civil war progress. I'm going to do the first one. If I can weaken them enough, they're not going to be able to continue forward. So, if I throw those in there, they're willing to accept this. That's all my war goals. Propose peace deal. And that is the end of the war. And now that all my units have been demobilized, my cash flow should be doing a lot better. Oof, we certainly are paying a lot of interest for that minor mobilization that I did just a little bit of. Let's take a look at taxation capacity and make sure we're good over here. We're actually not. We need a little bit more taxation capacity in Beira. And a little bit more in Castile. I think 4 should do it. Let's throw... Did I finish out my construction queue? I don't think I did. I think I paused my construction queue. What? What is going on? Did my... What happened? Did my construction queue just goof? What happened? I had a bunch of stuff slated in for construction in Orissa and places. What? That's so weird. Curious. Alright, well anyway, the street side standoff. Troops in Iberian Kanto have reported more and more confrontations with belligerent mobs. Fighting will likely break out soon if nothing is ordered. There's only 2 ways to control the situation. Either pull the troops back or tell them to engage. Or tell them to engage. Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing I always do. I think this is just the most sensible thing. And it succeeded this time. And generated me some loyalists. So maybe this will reduce the activism of the Japanese national movement to the point where it will not want to be in a revolution state anymore. And that would be nice. If we could get that for the rest of the game, that would be super duper. We do seem to be short of authority right now. Juan Carlos de Borbon is still a child. He's 15. Where's my election? 1 more week till the election. So this should be good. We'll be able to boot the industrialists out, and that should make the government much more legitimate. Alright, 64.8% of the vote has landed in the hands of the industrialists. Oh, but the armed forces. I've got to pull in the armed forces if I do this. Ugh, that's not ideal. If I put them together, I'm going to take a shot at this. Alright, so that is the genuine number. So if I pull in the Free Trade Party, I'll get a little bit more legitimacy. So let's do it. Nice. Alright. So for now, yeah, I think we're just going to leave construction in the hands, entirely in the hands of the private investment pool, because I think that's just what we want to do. The mob approaches. Belligerent crowds have been getting increasingly provocative when confronted by troops in Iberian Kanto. Hardliners and government are demanding tougher responses, while doves are calling for troops to stand down as the first hopeful step in de-escalation. A whiff of grape shot saved the day once, it can be done again. I'm telling you, we need to show strength right now. Strength? Pfft. Bullets are an admission of weakness. We need to talk, show them we're not afraid. That's how we'll get them. Disperse the crowd with force. Order the troops to stand down. As always with this decision, disperse the crowd with force has a 50% chance of increasing radicalism. Ordering the troops to stand down has a 50% chance of adding loyalists. I'm always going to pick the loyalists. It didn't work this time because the secession progress went up. But, you know, that's how I make that decision. Getting loyalists in territories that want to revolt is of critical importance, basically always. Alright, so I've got a little bit of authority to play with. I could throw consumption taxes on telephones and luxury goods, telephones and luxury furniture, and I think that's the way we're going to go. I could do the clothes thing again if I cut my consumption tax on tobacco, but honestly, I don't think that's the right call. Actually, I think I could get just a little bit more by throwing the consumption tax back on fruit. So let's do that. That's just going to give us a little bit more cash flow to play with. And I think that's important for the time being. Actually, I'm going to boot the industrialists back out of the government because I don't want them to request that I change the workers' rights laws. Standard of living is once again quite high, and that's provided me with a large group of loyalists. You know, in all of my runs since, I think, 1.8, I've managed to accomplish a significant number of loyalists without too much effort. Mostly through a combination of increasing standard of living and having high legitimacy. And I'm curious as to... because I know that, like, if you want to make radical changes in the late game, the way you do that is by getting a lot of radicals. Well, this is interesting. Tell me. Russia wants the Ionian Isles, the Terem Basin, which is over here. This is the Terem Basin. This entire region. State. They want a transfer of the Trucial States and Tripolitania. Britain wants to transfer Jabal Shammar. It's an interesting situation. I think either side would accept my support. The United States looks inclined to side with Great Britain. Italy looks inclined to side with Russia. And Austria looks inclined to side with either. Germany and Belgium are almost assured... This is Germany? This is the North German Federation, yes. Are almost assuredly going to side with Great Britain. So if I side with Russia, I'm kind of alone on this. In some ways. Intelligentsia support Japanese secession. Pointing to the discrimination Japanese people suffer under Iberian law, the intelligentsia argue that they should have the right to self-determination. There are those who say this question is tearing our nation apart, but who can call a nation whole which does not treat its people as equal before the law? Who can blame those who would rather die as a first-class citizen of a Japanese state than live as a second-class citizen of Iberia? Treason is slander of our justice system. Intelligentsia big mad, but reduces civil war progress, or it's undeniable that they are not treated equally. Reduced civil war progress, increased attraction for the Japanese national movement, but reduced activism. Going with the second one, I'm going to try to drop them in activism below 75%, and if it works, which it's predicted to do, you see I got my predicted 72 here, then this movement will actually stop being revolutionary. Well, that's fun. Alright, so Britain has North German Federation along with them. Belgium seems likely to go there as well. What will you give me if I side with you, Great Britain? Transfer subject of Baluchistan. I don't have anything to do with Baluchistan. Get war reparations, that'd be fun, but I don't think it's going to be worth the cost. So, we'll just let that war pop off. Again, the United States seems inclined to align with Great Britain. Ooh, Austria is looking pretty close to aligning with Russia. That would be wild. We might be about to have a general European war kicking off here. Austria sides with Russia. Alright, beautiful. Belgium, you gonna get in on this? Seems like not. Cash flow is doing much better now, and we're slowly chipping away at this interest line at him, which I'm pretty pleased with. I'm still funding lobbies in Japan. I don't need to be doing that. They're not getting closer to us. There's Belgium joining the conflict on Great Britain's side. Giulio Gio, a social democrat aligned with the trade unions, has been exiled from Italy. Alright, any other... Okay, our Minsk line item is over. No more diplomatic pacts. Well, still getting a lot from diplomatic pacts over here. The vast majority from Philippines, Mexico, and the Ottoman Empire. That's pretty freaking solid. Legislation imposed on... They didn't want to do cultural exclusion. They chose pride over progress. How would you react to such insubordination? Oh, how about you go to freaking... What are your chances of getting multiculturalism? Not great. What about racial segregation? Give a shot to racial segregation. Just liberalize a little, please, so that the Nahua people... Is it the Nahua people who keep doing a revolt? I think it is. And the Maya. The Maya people live in this area, and that's the other ethnic group that keeps trying to overthrow the government of Mexico. Alright. Great Britain has finally stopped trying to get me to not improve relations with them. Alright. Final decision. We got Austria and Russia on one side. Great Britain and North German Federation on the other. United States is bailed out. Italy seems disinclined. But I think ultimately I'm going to stay out of it. My debts are high, and I can take the opportunity to get up to whatever kind of nonsense I want to get up to. And right now, that nonsense is paying off my government debt, because 60K in interest is just an enormous number, truly enormous, and I don't know how I can deal with that, if we're being realistic. I need to start improving relations with Persia, because Persia needs to be better friends with me in order for their liberty desire to get moving downward. Actually, the liberty desire is going down just fine, but, you know, no reason to struggle with it. Alright. Ethiopia is still not going down as fast as I would hope. Persia's not going down that fast at all, but we're not economically entangled with them. I could easily build up some resources in Persia, some businesses and whatnot. I think that'd be sensible. But with Persia now in our market, let's take a quick look at how that's changed things. Demand for phones and radios remains high. Demand for ammunition remains extremely high. Actually, we're selling a lot of ammo abroad, which is interesting. Steel's still pretty expensive. Grain, groceries. We're exporting a lot of groceries. I'm trying to keep my freaking food industries effective because we're getting that birth rate bonus from Toledo Foods. And that's very important for our continued growth because, as we've talked about, I am a nation with pretty strict citizenship laws, and I cannot rely on simply boosting immigration to get the population growth that I need. Alright, so let's just kind of build up whatever's profitable in Persia. Plus oil wells. We'll build whatever's profitable and also oil wells. Can you tell I'm from the United States? I like black gold. I'm always saying I love gold, and it's always been true. Ooh. Quite a bit of profitable industry here. Excuse me, who is waging a war against me? Bremen. It's Bremen again. It's always Bremen. Alright, moving right along here, let's go ahead and throw everything that's a mine at the top of this. Well, actually, what we're going to do is throw everything that's an industrial building at the bottom. Below the mines. And then we'll build the industrial buildings afterward. Mines and fishing wharves and whatnot. And that'll be just fine. That'll help build our economic entanglement with our partners here in Persia. Now, it's always important to entangle your partners. Entangle your partners. Relationship advice with the Gen Cat. We're actually getting close to the end of the episode. I think we're going to go till the middle of the year. And then we'll do a 2.5 year episode for the final episode. And then, if I can get my stuff together, I'll do a little bit of a... I think this time I'll do a little bit of a tour. Really? You want more construction? Well, that's fine, but, you know, I'm not gonna do it. I wanna keep government spending under control. Alright, go ahead and ignore some of these other diplomatic plays as long as they're starting to get silly over freaking nothing. And let's take a look at where the, let's take a look at this, got another New Neighbors, New Grudges event. A minority group of Venezuelan people has recently settled in the state of Valencia seeking a better future. However, the local Spanish elites are stirring up resentment, claiming the Venezuelan newcomers will destroy the traditional way of life. They don't belong here. Our Spanish customs, our way of life, they'll be lost if we let the Venezuelans settle, claimed a prominent landowner. His words echoed in the taverns and markets of Valencia. The newcomers, hopeful but weary, whisper of opportunity, but face closed doors and hostile stares. Again, I'm going to pick this middle one. It's going to give me some radicals, but it's got a good chance of increasing acceptance, and that's rad. So let's take a look at this war. Let's take a look at this lovely little war. Let me see. We got about 500,000 dead on both sides, and about 1 million wounded, which is pretty par for the course for your general European wars. Who's got war support protection in this thing? Great Britain's got war support protection. Russia does not have war support protection, curiously enough. No war goal targets against Russia. That's really interesting. Austria has war support protection, and Germany has war support protection. Okay, so I'm guessing my guess is that Russia is basically going to wind up the weak link in this whole thing. Although they have the ability to just eat a bunch of British territory over here, which it seems like that they're going to do, but obviously that's not really going to affect things all that much on account of none of that territory is British core territory, incorporated territory. I think all of this is unincorporated. I suspect all of this is unincorporated. I haven't checked, but it seems likely. Britain usually grabs a bunch of unincorporated territories in Africa and the Middle East, just on account of they like having a lot of unincorporated territory. Obviously they like creating these colonial powers, but here's a bunch of Great Britain right in the middle of Africa. And that's a pretty typical shape of Great Britain in modern Victoria 3. These oil wells are taking a long time to build, I'm feeling like. But maybe I'm just biased. I'm used to building fast. Building a lot and building fast. Our construction capacity is pretty modest for this point in the game, but I'm feeling pretty... like, this is closer to often where computer-controlled nations are at this point in the game. Just on account of... don't want to invest in you, Dahomey. Just on account of they're not so good at managing their economies, and obviously we've been on agrarianism for a really, really long time, and agrarianism is not the most investment-oriented economic model. We're also seeing a slight uptick in radicals on account of standard of living is falling off a little bit. Economic growth remains rock solid. And in fact, we have the number 3 sized economy in the game, although we're being outpaced by America by quite a bit. I guess economic growth in the United States is pretty large on account of they got that big statue that pulls in a lot of immigration. Oh, they never built it. Nope. It's just they don't have that big statue. It's just regular old-fashioned huge economic growth. I wonder if they're in ooh, I could do the electric arc process. It's going to take a lot of electricity, though. I'm not necessarily going to do that, because I don't necessarily need the steel, and it'll make these less productive. Let's just take a quick run at tech. I did finally get automatic dough rollers, which I'm pretty pleased about. Let's get compression ignition, and now that I've got Persia in here, we'll grab the oil turbine. Actually, let's get arc welding. Then we'll get the compression ignition and the oil turbine. And that'll be cool. We got a lot of innovation flowing in. And we got a lot of extra tech spread from unspent innovation, and that's rock solid. Obviously, we're doing a lot of knowledge sharing, but that is what it is. It's important for keeping our subject nations strong. France is going after Japan just to steal a bunch of territory. Ooh. Yeah. All right. Well, this is going to be buck wild. I'm going to go ahead and pause construction because I need the money. Because we're about to fight the French. I'm going to do a full mobilization. I'm not going to goof around with this at all. I'm just going to put all my armies here on the French border. I don't think anyone else in Europe is going to get involved in this, and the reason I think no one else is going to get involved in this is because I think they're all occupied having their own wars. I don't know why I'm using a bunch of convoys right now. I'm not. My armies are going to a location over land. Let's go ahead and throw our navies in various areas. We'll see how things go from there. Construction is paused to save money, just to build us up a little bit more of a buffer. If I increase global taxes, it will be 151k, which is not that much. Force comparison here is not great, but it will get better over the course of me mobilizing more and more troops. Let's take a look at what France has got. That's a fleet. Are there Russian troops here? I hope not. Yeah, they're still doing skirmish infantry and trench infantry and mobile and shrapnel artillery. I feel extremely confident in my ability to win this. Royal Guard has its organization goofed by the weird conscription situation. Force comparison here is a little rough. I'm just going to go ahead and put all of these units onto defend for the moment. Just while we sort ourselves out. Can I get another... Ooh, I got an armed forces guy and he's good. We'll just go ahead and put these units on defend. We'll make the defense adamant while we're able. Interesting. I don't actually have a spot for that very strong guy, so we'll just let things be for now. This force comparison is going to improve a lot as our armies get more mobilized, but for the moment, it's pretty bad, and so I'm going to keep my units on defense. They'll be defending the Pyrenees. It's one of the harshest... Well, I shouldn't say one of the harshest mountain ranges in the world, but waging war across a mountain range is like... It's really, really difficult, even if the mountain range is a relatively modest one, which I don't know that the Pyrenees is. Pyrenees are? I think it should be Pyrenees are. So hopefully what'll happen is the French will bash their faces against me over here for a while, and it is extremely funny to me that the Japanese national movement is popping off now as I am right now in the process of assisting Japan in a war. Russia is supporting Japan, but I don't really know if that helps any. As soon as this war ends, I should be able to pass, with Japan now being, or soon being my subject, I should be able to pass them the territory that I'm holding as long as there's not a war goal against it, but it might not work out that way. Alright, as you can see, our force comparison is getting better and better. Russia has, in my opinion, foolishly placed a lot of troops over here. And the enemy has decided to attack us. And we are winning. Excellent. Very good, very good. So as long as we keep winning battles and doing damage to the enemy here, I'm feeling extremely confident about our ability to continue to experience success in the warplace. France's fleets are modest, so I think as long as I chase them... I'll be able to continue to get what I want to get. Nice. The procession of provocations. Dissidents in Iberian Kanto have announced plans for a major march around government offices in the near future. While they profess peaceful intentions and claim everyone will be unarmed, the march itself will obviously serve as a rallying point for those unhappy with the government. Stop that march by any means possible. Let the procession go ahead. I'm going to let it go ahead. No, I'm going to stop it. I'm going to stop it. It worked! Oh, excellent. Alright, with that having been said, I've actually run over time here by quite a bit. And we're in a war, so the next episode's going to take even longer. So, that's going to be all for today, my nerds. I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I'll see you on the other side.